What's up guys, CJ here and welcome back to another all-new Hybrid Network review. When Young Justice was abruptly cancelled at the end of its second season in 2013, thanks to a lack of toy sales, of all things, leaving viewers on a massive cliffhanger, fans everywhere mourned the loss of a surprisingly mature and deeply complex animated series, arguably one of the best animated offerings that DC and WB had ever put out. But after years of questioning, hoping, campaigning, and petitioning, the show is finally back today. That's right, Young Justice Outsiders debuts today on the DC Universe streaming service. And we've gotten a chance to watch the first 3 episodes already, and let me tell you, Young Justice fans, you are in for an absolute treat. To put it simply, before we dive into the nitty-gritty, in short, the show is as good as it has ever been, and arguably maybe even better. The series still features incredibly mature themes wrapped up in a complex and gripping storyline, even though the show is absolutely darker than it's ever been and more mature than ever before. The 3rd season, subtitled Outsiders for a reason, picks up where the 2nd season ended off, Nightwing taking a leave of absence, but in his reduced role the team continues, and in his words in that finale, business as usual. The story then jumps 2 years into the future, and we see that there have been some major changes throughout the world. The Young Justice team continues to operate, but the Justice League is fighting battles throughout the galaxy, led by Wonder Woman and the new Aquaman, Calder. In these battles, they've encountered multiple metahumans from Earth, but they're children that are being controlled. More on that in a little bit. That kicks off the major thrust of the early season. Someone is kidnapping children and teens and activating their latent metahuman genes and then using them as weapons. But the League is hamstrung in their efforts to fight this threat. They're under UN oversight, and the UN Secretary General, Lex Luthor, has made it nearly impossible for them to operate. Several Justice League members therefore retire in protest. Batman, Green Arrow, Katana, and others, while Black Lightning retires after an incident with a metahuman child in which the child actually died. While Batman and his new team seem poised to operate as vigilantes, Nightwing, we learn, has already been doing the same thing, tracking down the metahuman traffickers. But when a lead takes him to the kingdom of Markovia, he assembles a team to help him put an end to the traffickers once and for all: Artemis, Superboy, and Black Lightning. And if that little intro to the new series doesn't give you enough of an indication yet, this newest season is as dark as the show has ever been by far. I mean, the subject matter of human trafficking is heavy enough, but beyond that, the actual content of the show is way closer to PG-13 than the series' original TV PG tone. Multiple people get shot. I mean, somebody gets shot through the head, people are stabbed and murdered. There's one scene in which someone is pretty much burned alive, and multiple people are experimented on, kind of like tortured, to activate their metahuman powers. It's kind of like that scene in Deadpool where they're trying to activate his mutation. It's definitely not something that would have ever been shown on Cartoon Network, and it actually seems aimed directly at an audience of the folks who watch the original show, rather than the original show's original intended demographic of kind of like young teens, early teenage years kids. In fact, I would say, honestly, I'm not sure if I had children that were like younger than 12, I probably wouldn't show them this show. It's pretty heavy, actually. The series storyline is also incredibly complex. Not only has it given us a fictional spin on a very real-world problem, there are some timely themes also thrown in for good measure, but it's also brought us back to an Earth and a universe that's large and it's alive with its own political infighting and intrigue. From the backdrop of Markovia, the political fighting there, to the Justice League straining against regulation, to Batman's new team of outsiders against the regular League, and the new Young Justice versus the now rogue members of the original team. The show has laid a ton of groundwork over the first 3 episodes in a very short amount of time. But the show, for all the darkness, hasn't lost its soul or its spirit. That quick wit and the sense of humor is still evident and permeates throughout the series, even despite the grimmer reality the characters now find themselves in. And while some of the humor still feels a little bit Cartoon Network and it clashes at times, it still works within the context of the show, and if you're a fan, you're kind of used to that brand of humor. But if there's one knock I can throw on this season, it's that the animation actually feels a little bit like a step down from the quality of the original show. I mean, the series then, of course, had the backing of Cartoon Network, one of the biggest names in cartooning and animation, and presumably then it had a much larger budget than it was when it was on a streaming service, which it is now. And it's not really even a huge step down. They haven't changed the art style at all, if you're worried about that. And it might not even be noticeable if you haven't watched the original series recently, but it is something that caught my eye. It just feels a little bit more rigid. The movement doesn't feel as fluid, but it is still gorgeous. I still love that art style so much. Let us know in the comment section down below if you'll be checking out Young Justice Outsiders, and if you've checked it out already, let us know what you think and your predictions. Obviously, they left us on a little bit of a cliffhanger in episode 3, but I'll be interested to see where the series goes from there. There are a lot of threads that they laid in episode 1 that they haven't picked back up for episode 3, and I can't wait to see how they all pan out. That's going to do it for me here, though. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to smash that like if you like what you saw, subscribe for more great content every single day, and consider turning on your notifications to be alerted every time we upload a new video. Signing off, this is CJ, and I'll see you next time.